You are Locked On Marlins POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? Welcome to your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. My name is Jim GRIEShaber. Call me Grease. Coming out of the dark. What is going on here? Come on, these lights are blaring right in my face. And, excuse me, somehow I look a little dark on the screen. Podio is back up, though, and we are able to do the show here tonight. They were doing site maintenance on one of our valued partners at Podio, and that took a couple hours, and you didn't miss much. I mean, really, 10-4, the Marlins lose in New York. The Mets pound the ball all over the field, 13 hits. Last time I looked, it might have been more by the end of this game, and, just not a good night for your Miami Marlins, to say the least. Not even in the slightest there. I just think I had to, Marlins, let me see, here we go. Marlins fall to Mets 10-4 in New York. There we go. All right, so we got the title going. We got everything going here, and we are rolling. So we're just kind of going as we go here tonight. You guys know the dealio. Here we go. And boom, this is me killing time. See, stretch, Jim, stretch. But yeah, so here we go. All right, Locked On Marlins POSTCAST 10-4. The final, the Mets beat the Marlins in the middle of this three-game series in New York City. Would you get caught between the moon and New York? Of all the New York songs, is that the one you come up with? Good Lord, I've been around too long. Anyway, tonight's show is a special one for me, and they're all special for me, but I want to thank you for sharing this every single day, right? After every single Marlins game, you are here, the day-by-dayers, and I'm talking to you, and then whoever you are here tonight, I want to thank you for making your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST a big part of your night. Here today, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And tonight's episode in particular is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brake kits to exhaust. Let me try that again. Tonight's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive and well. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. All right, there you have it. The Marlins lose to the Mets 10-4. They fall to 23 and 44. The Mets go to 29 and 37. The Marlins, this is disturbing. Keith Hernandez. By the way, Keith Hernandez was a great player. If you remember him, the Mets first baseman in the 80s with the 86 crazy team. He and Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden and all those guys. Well, anyway, yeah. So the Marlins are now 3-20 versus left-handed pitching after losing tonight against the Mets. And David Peterson, who got the win for New York, and Braxton Garrett took the loss for Miami. 4 2/3, 6 runs, 4 earned. He's up and down like a yo-yo on his starts. And we talk about this, right? We talk about this a lot. We talk about starting pitchers not giving their team a chance to win. And that's something that really gets to me. And I've talked about this a lot with the Marlins this year. So let's look right now at the scoring as we move along here in the beginning stages of your Locked On Marlins POSTCAST. Let's take a look at the scoring, and the recap is out too. Remember, the game ended a while back, but we were unable to get started because our podcast partner, Podio, was down a little bit. So we're a little bit late here for you live on YouTube, but wherever you get your postcasts and podcasts, you're not missing us anytime soon because you're not even listening live. Anyway, top of the first for the Marlins, Peterson pitching for the Mets. Lopez lines out to second. De La Cruz flies out to center. Bell strikes out looking. Mets bottom one, Harrison Bader. Flexing like Ryan Bader, MMA champ, with a 431-foot home run to center field that scored Francisco Lindor, who picked up his 300th career RBI as a Met tonight with a home run later in the game. The Mets had 13 hits. They hit the ball all over the field, 3 home runs. More on that in a minute as the Marlins took the lead in the top of the second inning. Dane Myers scored Jake Berger with a double. Rivera singles to center to score Myers. Berger had singled to center. Chisholm Jr. with an infield single. You see Jazz Lessons there. Jazz had a couple of hits tonight for the Fishies. Mets, bottom of the second, though, they would take the lead for good in this game. J.D. Martinez singles to center. Where are we at? Let's, you know what? Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, yeah, Taylor started that inning with a single. He actually had a bunch of hits today, 4 hits for him, and more on that in a minute. So Taylor singles, Vientos reaches on an error by Rivera. Taylor goes to second. Alvarez singles to center. Taylor scores Vientos to second. Wild pitch by Garrett sends Alvarez to second. Vientos to third. He then scores on an error by the second baseman, Otto Lopez. How to give away games. 1-0-1. Martinez later singles to center, scoring McNeil, and Lindor goes to third before Alonso grounds to short, and that made it 5-2. The Mets with the lead. Nothing doing in the third for the Marlins or the Mets. Top of the fourth, nothing for Miami. Mets bottom 4. Garrett had a 1-2-3 inning. Yeah, there's only one of the game. Marlins top of the fifth. They got a couple back, and they were able to make it a 1-run game. Scored 2 in this inning. Lopez doubles to center. De La Cruz doubles to left, scoring Lopez. Bell grounds out to first. De La Cruz goes to third. Then Berger walks first to third. Chisholm singles to left. De La Cruz scores. It's 5-4. Anderson grounds out to second. He did have a 2-hit day for TA. Remember, a former batting champ, if he could get it going. Man, if they had Arias and Anderson at the top of that order just hitting the way they're I'd give him, Arias is the best left-handed hitter in Major League Baseball in 20 years. You don't trade that guy. You don't do it. You don't do it. You just don't do it. This microphone isn't working. Hold on a second, guys. There we go. You guys hear me all right? There we go. All right. Take this thing off from underneath. Sorry, guys. I had a clip-on mic that I was trying, and I don't think it was working, but I think this guy's got it here, and we'll turn that up later in the volume in the postcast for you on the Simplecast. Anyway, been one of those nights so far. So anyway, top of the sixth, the Marlins, look, they were unable. The Mets added one in the bottom of the fifth, I should say, to make it 6-4. It's every time the Marlins would get closer, the Mets would just pull away, and that was what did it. They made it 6-4 when Starling Marte, the former Marlin, homers, and that was to left center, 434 feet. It's 6-4 at that point. Mets in the bottom of the seventh would add 2 more. Vientos singles in Alonso, and Alvarez, fielder's choice, scores Marte. Then in the bottom of the 8th inning, just for good measure, Francisco Lindor homers, right? He had to. It was his 13th of the season. And then Marte singles in Bader, who had reached on an infield single and went to second on a sacrifice fly from first to second, moved up a base. And so there you have it. That's what happened in that game there. And sorry about that mic. I was trying a new mic underneath my my shirt, but I guess it wasn't working, and I was looking at the level, so it wasn't working. But we got this guy here as a backup, so we're good to go, and we'll fix that later on for you on your Locked On Marlins postcast. And one of those nights, let's take a look at the box score. The Mets just pounding the ball all over the field. They had 3 home runs. Told you about Lindor, and Bader hit one as well. Drove in 2 runs, did Harrison Bader. But let's take a look at the box score for the Mets, shall we? Lindor went 2 for 5. 2 runs scored and an RBI, including that home run. He's up to 234 of the batting average. Harrison Bader, 2 for 5, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, had a home run as well, 266. JD Martinez, 1 for 5 with an RBI. Pete Alonso, 1 for 5 with a run scored. Marte, 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, including a homer. He also walked, was on base 3 out of 5 times up today, 288. The average for him. How about Taylor? Taylor goes 4 for 5. Nice job by the New York Mets, Tyrone Taylor. And Tyrone Taylor with a night, and he was going to had a chance to become the first Met with 5 hits in a game this season, and they retired him in the bottom of the 8th inning. So anyway, Taylor 4 for 5 with a run scored. Vientos 1 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI and a walk as well. Alvarez 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and McNeil 0 for 4 with a run scored. There must be like something going on around here, man, with this electronic stuff I got. You see that light just, oh, hello. Oh, well. Anyway, it's kind of fun enjoying all this stuff. But, yeah, I mean, it's the beauty of going on live, and you never know what's going to work, what's not going to work. And most times it comes out perfectly fine. Other times it takes some work. Meanwhile, on the pitching side for the Mets, it was David Peterson picking up the win, goes to 2-0. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits. 4 runs all earned, 2 walks, a strikeout, 84 pitches. ERA goes to 4.32. Nunez goes 2 1/3, strikes out 5 hitters. Scoreless, hitless relief. Diekman, 2/3 of an inning as well, just gave up a hit. Garrett, in an inning, struck out 2. No hits, no runs, none of that. Garrett for the Marlins, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 earned, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs, 89 pitches, 54 for strikes. His ERA goes up to 6.10. Chargois for the Marlins, 1 1/3, gives up a hit and a walk, also struck 1 out. Cronin, 2/3 of an inning. 3 hits, 2 runs, they were earned, also a walk, 16 pitches. Not a good night for him. ERA balloons to 2.64. He had been lights out until tonight. You give him a pass on a bad game here and there, although he's not going to like it. And then Burke Smith, 1 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, they were earned, 1 home run allowed, and the Marlins bullpen got touched up pretty good tonight. That doesn't usually happen. 4 earned runs in an inning and 2 full innings, because you can't, Chargois didn't give up anything. It's Cronin and Smith, and just those 2 guys. So the bullpen got touched up tonight. Meanwhile, the Marlins offensively, Lopez led off tonight. Interesting from Skip there. 1 for 5 with a run scored. De La Cruz, 1 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI for DLC. Josh Bell 0 for 3 with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Jake Berger, 1 for 3 with a run scored, a walk and a K. Chisholm, 2 for 4 with an RBI. 2 for 4 for TA. And Myers, 1 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. Sanchez 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter, stayed in right field. Rivera 1 for 3 with an RBI. Brujan 0 for 1. Fortes 0 for 3. And Nick Gordon as a pinch hitter 0 for 1. So there you have it. That is your box score for the Marlins tonight. And I gave you the Mets too, because, look, the Mets just crushed it, man. 14 hits, 10 runs on 14 hits, 3 home runs. They spray the ball all over the field. How many extra base hits did the Mets have tonight? They had 2 doubles and 3 home runs, and that's it. They had 3 2-out RBIs, and they left 8 runners on base on top of this. Can you imagine 8 runners left on base and they still scored that many runs? They only struck out 5 times tonight. That's low. Marlins struck out 8. They only walked 2. But there you have it. That's what's going on with that. We're going to look more into what happened for the Mets offensively tonight. And look, the Marlins bullpen, they were due for one like this. They had been lights out for so long. We're going to talk about that as well later on in the show. We're going to talk about tomorrow's matchup, because this series is tied 1-1. The Marlins usually play really well against the Mets. You got the Nationals on the other side. We'll take a look at the standings. How can the Marlins make up ground? Got to get that thing going and keep it going in the right direction. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. My name is Jim GRIEShaber. Call me Grease, and we are here after every single Marlins game. Want to thank you for making us a daily stop for you right here on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami, or wherever you get your podcasts. You get your Locked On Marlins postcast right after the game ends. Tonight we were a little late. Technical difficulties, not really difficulties, just maintenance. The site that we use as our podcast partner was down, and we kind of get all kinds of stuff going right off that podio. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast with me, Jim GRIEShaber. Call me Grease. Thank you so much for being here. Let's keep it going, shall we? All right, break number 1, and this is pretty cool right here. You think about this. And it is absolutely here on Locked On. And we love being here day in and day out. It's your team every day. You know the deal with Locked On Sports, right? We pride on getting ourselves the latest news so that we can give it to you and your team, right? All about your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs, you name it. That's what we do here at Locked On. It's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collector season. And just because tax season is over, it doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. I got mine done. You gotten yours done? The IRS can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank accounts, even seize your property, and I've seen it happen. You do not want that. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA, they are unreal, man. They've saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. So whether you owe taxes, you have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season, can happen, right, on FanDuel, and you need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And again, right there, it is tnusa.com/lockedon, 1-800-549-1000 for Tax Network USA right here on Locked On. Next up, we talk to you about Prize Picks, and you know how much I love Prize Picks. We talk about Prize Picks a lot here on the shows. It is Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It's the most fun, exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or you pick less. It's that simple. On 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. With Prize Picks, you can turn $10 into 1,000 relatively easily in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. Who else can say that? You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you are locked in. You're looking for promotions? They got you there with Prize Picks every single week. Sometimes they do things like lower select player stat projections on Tuesdays. It increases your chance of getting a win. Sometimes they get your entry fees back to you if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. It's America's #1 fantasy sports app. Over 5 million members. And in the month of June, you can feel it because it was the month of June. You can now win up to 100 times your money on baseball-only lineups with Prize Picks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring your Demon Squares, 4 Demon Squares to be exact, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. So you got to do it, man. You got to do it. You know what I mean? You have to go and download the app today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That is Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100 when you download the Prize Picks app today. Dun, 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 dun. Jim Grieshaber, call me Grease. This is your Locked On Marlins postcast. All the technical difficulties aside, all the site maintenance aside, all the Mets just hitting the ball all over New York City aside, we are here for you with your Locked On Marlins postcast, just like we are with Locked On every show, every day, your team, your city, your league. And now, yeah, that's right, Locked On Sports Today, your go-to, your plug every single day. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. That's right. Want to thank you for making us a part of your day every day. Locked On Marlins postcast with me, Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease, wherever you get your podcast. It could be Spotify. It could be Apple Music. It could be iHeart. You know what I'm saying? Because we got it like that. Also here on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami. We do Locked On the NBA, Locked On the MLB, Locked On the NFL. I'll be doing the Dolphins and Hurricanes football this season. Heat when basketball season starts again for Miami. And, of course, Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. And what's the score of that game? Meanwhile, I mean, I know, like, if you're listening after the fact, then it won't matter as much. It's 5 minutes left in the fourth, 93-90. Celtics looking to take a 3-0 lead without Porzingis tonight, too, against Dallas. All right, there you have it. We're keeping it going. Your Locked On Marlins postcast 10-4. The Mets win in New York City. And, of course, if you're a New Yorker, you don't call Queens New York City. My bad. Sorry, guys. I don't want to offend anybody. A lot of displaced New Yorkers in the MIA. By the way, John Carlos crushing the ball. Have you seen what John Carlos Stanton, former Marlin, has been doing lately? Kind of like what Starling Marte did tonight, former Marlin as well, just against the Marlins here tonight. So Peterson gets the win in 5 innings. He goes to 2-0. Gave up 8 hits and 4 runs. Hardly did a lot to earn it. Garrett takes the loss because he did more to lose it. See how it goes? And the Mets just continued. I mean, Taylor had 4 hits. Marte had 2. Bader had 2. Lindor had 2. You had 3 different players with 2 RBIs. You had 3 home runs hit. You had 14 hits tonight by the Mets. 14. The Marlins had a terrible pitching night. That bullpen has carried this team to whatever success it's had. You've had some really good starts from Luzardo, from Weathers, who's on the IL with the finger right now. You've had some really good starts from Luzardo and Weathers. A couple from Garrett and Rogers. I'm not going to discount those. Send them down. Sixto's on the IL. Cabrera still on the IL. He's coming back, by the way. And you go to Washington next. So we'll look at that in the next segment, kind of looking ahead to tomorrow's finale of this series and then into the Nationals. And again, I said we'd take a look at the standings, didn't I? Let's see. Where's the standings at? what are we going to do here? MLB standings. All right. Live TV, baby. And it's not even TV. It's live streams now. Anyway, how about the Yankees? 48-21, keeping pace ahead of the Orioles at 45-22. The Guardians at 43-23. We just saw them for 3 games. Good team. Mariners at 39-30. The first place teams in the AL. Phillies 46-21, smoking the Braves. Brewers 40-28. Dodgers 42-26. The Dodgers only 6-4 in their last 10. While the Yankees and Orioles, how about this? The Yankees go 8-2 in their last 10, trying to get some distance between them and the Orioles go 8-2 as well in their last 10, during which the Marlins have gone 3-7, while the Nationals and Mets have gone 6-4. Why is that important? Because we'll tell you when the standings make their appearance and their return to the show a little bit later on. Look like that we have some day-by-dayers here, too. I want to thank you guys for being here day in and day out. Locked On Marlins Postcast with me, Jim GRIES. Call me Grease. Before we wrap it up in this segment, want to just set the table for you one more time. The Marlins lose 10-4. The Mets have 14 hits, 3 home runs. They have 3 players with 2 hits, 1 player with 4 hits, 3 hitters with 2 RBIs or more, and the Marlins fall to 3-20 against left-handed pitching. The Marlins bullpen imploded today, gave up 4 earned runs. It never happens. Today was their mulligan, and we'll give them that mully, and they can move on. We're going to wrap it up on the other side. Take a look ahead to tomorrow. Take a look ahead to Washington. Tell you what I was talking about with the standings and how these last few games for the Marlins, where they really had a chance to make up some ground against the Mets, against the Nationals, not a way to go about their business the way that things had been going lately. So they needed to play a little bit better in these last few games. And now they have a chance, though, 1 more against New York, then the 3 against Washington, to go ahead and make up some ground in the National League East. You're watching your Locked On Marlins Postcast with me, Jim GRIES. Call me Grease. Step aside, pay a bill, and come back to wrap it up in just a minute. Locked On Sports, Miami. Passion, drive, performance, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors knows this, and eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, my friend. You're not burning cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. And of course, I just told you, but I'm going to tell you again, Locked On has launched. I repeat, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. It's Locked On Sports Today. It's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And of course, today's show, I want to thank you one more time for being here, day-by-dayers, everydayers, new viewers as well, listeners. Also want to thank you for being here today and making us a part of your day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and here on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And of course, tonight's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. That would be me. I don't know if that would be you or not, but wherever you're watching us from, thank you so much for being here. You day-by-dayers, we love you so much as well. My name is Jim GRIES. Call me Grease. This is as Miami as you get. One of these linen tops, man. Take me down to the Keys even with this bad boy. I'll tell you what. But the Marlins lose 10-4. to the Mets. Come on out and lose to the Mets. Anyway, they lose to the Mets 10-4. The Mets have 14 hits, 3 home runs. They pound the ball all over the field. Their pitching is not that good either. The Marlins actually had a decent night offensively, but you know what? You're giving up 10 runs. You're losing 92 out of those 100 games. 93, 94 out of those 100 games, giving up 10 runs. You're losing. I don't know what the exact number is, but I know they're 3-20 now against left-handed pitchers, and that is not a good representation of who they really are. Anyway, we've talked about their lineup all year long. We've talked about what they need to do to get things going again on the right track for this team. We're going to go through this recap real quick and then see what we missed. You know how we do every night. We go through the recap, see if we got to everything that's important for you on the show, and in case we missed it, we get it here. On the other side of this, we're going to talk about tomorrow's rubber matchup. They're 1-1 in this series. Will the Marlins beat the Mets tomorrow? We'll break that one down, give you the numbers and things like that. Take a look at the standings, and then we will get out of here like Vladimir. Anyway, Harrison Bader hit an early 2-run homer. Starling Marte and Francisco Lindor also went deep. New York Mets took advantage of shoddy defense by the last-place Marlins in a 10-4 victory Wednesday night. Tyrone Taylor, 4 for 5, second career 4-hit game. Francisco Alvarez, 2 RBI in his second game back from the injured list. They played awful without their catcher. He's back. That's really helping a lot. The Mets, 29-37. They won for the 7th time in 11 games after a 4-15 skid. Marte and Bader both knocked in 2 runs and scored twice. Alvarez, J.D. Martinez each delivered an RBI single as New York took a 5-2 lead in a 3-run second inning, aided by 2 errors on the infield and a wild pitch from Braxton Garrett, 2-2. Guarantee you this is the most exciting you'll ever hear a game recap read off the baseball websites. Daniel Nunez retired all 7 batters. He's amazing. He faced in relief of starter David Peterson, who went to 2-0, striking out a career high 5. Nunez, perhaps New York's best reliever of late, threw 23 of 29 pitches for X. But is an unfortunate candidate for a trip back to the minors Thursday when closer Edwin Diaz, there's like the demons in here. I don't know what's going on. When Diaz comes off the injured list because one of the few relievers in the bullpen with minor league options left, Peterson allowed 4 runs, 8 hits over 5 innings in his 3rd start of the season after returning from left hip surgery. Garrett was pulled, Braxton that is, after Marte's solo shot in the 2nd deck in left field gave the Mets 6-4 lead, 2 outs in the 5th. They gave up 6 runs, 4 runs on 7 hits. JT Chargois was reinstated from the 60-day injured list. Emmanuel Ramirez option to AAA Jacksonville. JT pitched tonight for the Marlins, did really well. Diaz will go right back into the closer role when he comes off the injured list Thursday for the Mets. Edwin Diaz, the Marlins pounded him in Miami recently. And let's not forget, Luis Severino, the former Yankee, 4-2, 3.25, pitched the series finale tomorrow night against Roddery Munoz, 1-2, 5.95, making his 5th career start for the Miami Marlins. You guys enjoying the show? Give me a heck yeah in the comments. Been seeing a lot of people coming in. Saw some good comments here lately, and you know how we do. So real quick, taking a look at the Marlins tomorrow night, okay? This is a night game, and then they will have the trip to Washington quickly right after. This is a 45-minute flight, if that. So, so tomorrow you got Munoz and Severino, 7:10 p.m. Eastern time, of course, first pitch. Munoz 1-2, Severino 4-2, obviously a better pitcher than Munoz at this stage of their career. Roddery Munoz, if you're looking at him and what he's done lately, and we'll give you the numbers on this game in just a second, but his last time out faced Cleveland, lost 8-0. Before that, lost 6-3. He gave up 4 earned runs in 5 innings his last start, 6 innings, earned runs in 7 innings. His start before that had 1 good start, 6 innings, 3 earned runs against Colorado on May 1st. Other than that, he hasn't been that good at all. So this game here, you've got, so your Marlins are minus 115, New York Mets minus 190. Sorry, the over 8.5 is minus 115, the under 8.5 is minus 105. The Mets are minus 190, the Marlins even money. And plus 1.5 for Miami is minus 130. Minus 1.5 for the Mets is plus 110. That's the run differential. You guys know that. So those are the numbers for the game. Mañana, where are we at on the clock? Tick, 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 tick. We're getting to the end of the show, but the Marlins had a chance to make some ground up in the standings. Look, they are 23 games out, 16.5 the Mets are, so you're 6.5 behind the Mets. You are now 9 and back of the Nationals, so you're not going to make up a ton of games. You sweep these next 4. 3 of them are against the Nats. You could get a lot closer, but man, they had a chance recently to make up some ground, and they just couldn't do it. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. Your Locked On Marlins postcast presented by eBay Motors here tonight. And eBay Motors is from breaks to exhaust picks and beyond. eBay Motors is over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive with all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Available only to U.S. customers. The Marlins lose to the Mets 10-4. Thanks for being here. Tomorrow, 7:10 p.m. first pitch. We'll be here right after the game with your Locked On Marlins postcast. Until then, I'm Jim Grieshaber. Call me Grease at @JimGrease_ on social media. Thanking you so very much for being here and reminding you always to keep your game tight and your mind right, Fish fan. I'm out.